The morning coffee in Commander Yoon's cup was still steaming when every screen in Seoul's deep space monitoring station started flashing red. He had been watching the quiet displays for 3 years, waiting for something that might never come. Today something came. Commander. Dr. Lee rushed into the control room, her tablet shaking in her hands. We're getting massive signals from outside the solar system. Multiple sources, they're talking to us. Yoon set down his coffee and stared at the main screen. Symbols he had never seen before scrolled across the display. Then, impossibly, they changed into Korean text. The translation was perfect. People of Earth, the message began. I am Admiral Kethavar of the Great Zephyrian Empire. Your small world has been chosen for a great honor. You will join our forces in the war against our enemies, the Corvani Alliance. Serve us well, and your species may survive. Refuse, and you will be destroyed. Before Yoon could fully understand the first message, another transmission cut through the static. The voice was different, harder, and more mechanical. Primitive humans, it said. I am War Commander Thex of the Corvani Alliance. The Zephyrians are liars and destroyers. Join our righteous cause against them and we will protect your world. Choose wrong and face the consequences. Dr. Lee looked at the readings on her tablet. Her face was pale. Commander, our satellites are detecting 2 massive fleets in space near Earth. They're huge, bigger than anything we ever imagined. Within minutes, both alien messages were broadcasting on every radio, television, and internet connection on Earth. The Zephyrians showed images of gleaming silver ships and promised advanced technology. The Corvani displayed dark, angular vessels and spoke of honor and protection. In emergency meetings around the world, leaders argued and panicked. Some wanted to surrender immediately, others demanded they fight. Most were simply terrified. President Park called an emergency session at the United Nations. Representatives from every nation gathered in New York, all asking the same question. What do we do? We need time, President Park said to the assembly. We cannot make this choice in hours. Both sides claim to offer protection, but they also threaten destruction. We must think carefully. Dr. Shin, director of Seoul's secret quantum communications project, watched the debates on her secure monitor. She had been waiting for this day, though she had hoped it would never come. Her team had been preparing for 30 years. Are the packages ready? She asked her assistant, Professor Nam. All quantum infiltration programs are loaded and waiting, Nam replied. We've been monitoring their transmissions since they arrived. Their encryption is strong but not impossible. Dr. Shin smiled grimly. Begin Phase 1. Let them think we're just talking. The United Nations debate continued for 18 hours. Finally, they reached a decision that surprised everyone. Instead of choosing sides or surrendering, Earth sent a single message to both alien fleets. The message was broadcast from communication stations around the world. It reached both fleets at exactly the same time, translated perfectly into both alien languages. This is Earth's response to both the Zephyrian Empire and the Corvani Alliance. President Park's voice said clearly, We have received your offers and your threats. However, humanity requires 48 hours to consider all options. We will give you our answer then. On the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Kethavar stared at his communication officer in confusion. How do these primitive creatures know our language, Muddy asked, and how dare they demand time from us? Captain Han, his tactical officer, checked the sensor readings again. Sir, they appear to have only basic technology, nuclear weapons, chemical, rockets, simple satellites. They should be grateful we even offered them a choice. 300 kilometers away on the Corvani command ship, War Commander Thex was equally puzzled. These humans act as if they have options, he told his intelligence chief, Major Kim. Their cities show barely industrial-level development. No energy shields, no plasma weapons, no faster-than-light travel. Major Kim nodded. They should be begging for our protection, Commander. Perhaps they do not understand the situation. Both alien commanders decided to wait. After all, what could primitive humans do in 48 hours? They positioned their fleets around Earth and began detailed scans of the planet's defenses. Everything they saw confirmed their opinions. Earth had crude weapons and simple technology. The humans were clearly desperate and confused. Neither fleet noticed the subtle electromagnetic patterns connecting Earth's satellites. They missed the quantum signals passing between ground stations and orbital platforms. The deep space monitoring arrays disguised as radio telescopes remained invisible to their sensors. In underground facilities around the world, human scientists and military officers worked frantically. The 48 hours were not for making a decision. Earth's leaders had already decided. The time was for preparation. Dr. Choi, head of Earth's secret xenological studies department, coordinated with teams on 6 continents. Remember, she told them over secure channels, they expect us to be primitive and afraid. That is our greatest advantage. As the deadline approached, both alien fleets grew confident. The humans would choose a side, probably the one that seemed stronger. Then Earth would become another conquered world, another source of soldiers for their ancient war. They had no idea that their 48-hour gift to humanity was about to become their greatest mistake. 2 days after the alien fleets arrived, Admiral Kethvar felt completely relaxed. His massive ship floated above Earth like a metal moon, and everything he saw through his sensors made him smile. The humans were exactly what he expected them to be. "Show me their weapons again," he told Captain Han, his second in command. The holographic display showed Earth's military bases around the world. "Nuclear missiles, sir," Han reported. "Very crude ones. They still use chemical explosives to launch them. Their most advanced fighter jets cannot even leave their atmosphere properly." Kethvar laughed, a sound like clicking metal. "My ship's shields could stop 1,000 of their nuclear weapons. What about their space defenses?" "Basic satellites, for communication and weather watching," Han said. "A few small space stations, nothing that could threaten even our smallest ship." On the other side of Earth, War Commander Thex was having the same conversation with his officers. Major Kim displayed the same sensor readings on the Corvani command ship. "Their technology is perhaps 50 years behind the weakest species we have conquered," Kim reported. "Their computers are slow and simple. Their energy sources are primitive fossil fuels and basic nuclear reactors." Thex nodded with satisfaction. "Perfect. Desperate primitives make the best soldiers. They fight harder because they have nothing else." Both alien commanders spent their time planning how to use Earth's population. The Zephyrians wanted human soldiers for dangerous missions. The Corvani planned to use humans as workers in their factories. Neither side worried about Earth's defenses. They should have been more careful. Deep underground in a facility beneath Seoul, Dr. Shin watched both alien fleets through monitors that the aliens could not detect. Her quantum communication system had been secretly observing them since they arrived. "Their security protocols are surprisingly weak," she told Professor Nam. "They use standard encryption that assumes no one else understands quantum mechanics." Nam smiled as he typed commands into his computer. "They think we are primitive. They do not bother to hide their communications from us." All around the world, similar facilities were doing the same work. In underground bases beneath New York, London, Tokyo, and Moscow, Earth's best scientists were studying every detail of the alien ships. The humans had been preparing for this moment for 30 years. Dr. Park, head of the Global Cyber Defense Network, coordinated the worldwide effort. "Phase 1 is complete," she announced to teams on every continent. "We have mapped both fleets completely. Their weapons, their shields, their computer systems, everything." The aliens had made a critical mistake. They assumed that primitive humans could not understand advanced technology, so they did not bother to protect themselves from Earth scanning attempts. Professor Wan, director of the Advanced Space Defense Project, reviewed the data from his secret facility under the Swiss Alps. "Excellent," he said to his team. "Their quantum computers are actually less secure than they think. We can exploit the behavioral patterns in their artificial intelligence systems." For 48 hours, while the aliens waited impatiently for Earth's surrender, human hackers worked around the clock. They found weaknesses in alien systems that the aliens themselves did not know existed. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Choi, a young programmer in Busan, discovered that the alien computers were designed to learn and adapt, but they could be tricked into learning the wrong things. We can make their systems think our behavioral patterns are their behavioral patterns, she explained to the global team. Their computers will start working for us instead of for them. As the 48-hour deadline approached, both alien commanders grew more confident. Admiral Kethvar reviewed his battle plans with his officers. Once they surrender, we will take half their population for our armies, he decided. The rest can work in our minds. War Commander Thex made similar plans. Human soldiers will be useful for attacking Zephyrian positions, he told Major Kim. They are expendable, which makes them perfect for dangerous missions. Neither commander noticed the subtle changes in their ship's computer systems. Human infiltration programs had been quietly entering their networks for 2 days, hidden in the data streams they used to monitor Earth. When Earth's deadline finally arrived, the response came not from government buildings or military bases. Instead, it was broadcast simultaneously from satellites that both alien fleets had dismissed as simple communication devices. Director Cho, Earth's newly appointed diplomatic representative, spoke clearly in both alien languages. This is Earth's unified response to both the Zephyrian Empire and the Corvani Alliance. After careful consideration, humanity must decline both offers. She paused, letting the words reach both fleets. You have 24 hours to leave our solar system. This is your only warning. Admiral Kethvar's mandibles clicked in amusement. Did these creatures just threaten us? War Commander Thex had the same reaction. Primitives with delusions of power. Tomorrow we will show them their mistake. Both commanders ordered their fleets to prepare for a quick demonstration of alien power. They would destroy a few human cities and then the survivors would beg to surrender. Neither alien leader suspected that Earth's real weapons were already inside their ships, hidden in the computer systems they had ignored for 2 days. The humans they had dismissed as primitive had been preparing for this moment longer than anyone imagined. The underestimation was complete. Tomorrow, both alien fleets would learn what that mistake would cost them. The alien laughter stopped at exactly 6 in the morning, Earth time. Admiral Kethvar was drinking his morning nutrient solution when every alarm on his flagship began screaming. The bridge lights flickered, then changed from blue to red to yellow in a crazy pattern. His navigation computer showed that his ship was somehow flying backward through space, even though it was not moving at all. What is happening? He shouted. At Captain Han Beit-Han stared at his control panel in panic. Sir, our weapon systems are targeting our own ships. The environmental controls think we are underwater. The artificial intelligence is speaking in human languages and playing something called Earth music. 300 kilometers away, War Commander Thex faced the same nightmare. His tactical display showed cartoon characters instead of enemy positions. His communication system was broadcasting human children's songs to the entire Corvani fleet. Worst of all, his ship's computer kept asking him if he wanted to order pizza. How are primitives doing this to us? Thex roared at Major Kim. Kim's voice trembled as he read the impossible reports. Sir, there are no signs of any external attack. Our firewalls show no breaches, but somehow our systems are learning human behavioral patterns instead of following our programming. Deep beneath Seoul, Dr. Park and her quantum hacking team watched their screens with satisfaction. Phase 2 is working perfectly, she announced, to the global network. Their quantum computers are now thinking like humans instead of aliens. But the cyber attacks were only the beginning of Earth's surprises. As both alien fleets struggled with their malfunctioning computers, satellites above the Pacific Ocean began to move. What the aliens had dismissed as weather monitoring devices rotated to reveal their true purpose. Hidden kinetic bombardment platforms disguised for decades, aimed at the Zephyrian advance ships. The projectiles that launched from these platforms were not explosive. They were simple pieces of metal, but they moved at speeds close to the speed of light. When they hit the Zephyrian shields, the impact released more energy than a nuclear bomb. Admiral Kethvar watched 3 of his cruisers disappear in brilliant flashes of light. Impossible, he whispered. Those were supposed to be primitive weather satellites. The Corvani fleet fared no better. Earth's fighter aircraft, which alien sensors could not even detect, emerged from what appeared to be empty space. The human ships bent light around themselves, making them invisible to alien technology. Commander Yoon coordinated the fighter attacks from his command center, which was now revealed as part of a global defense network. Strike teams Alpha through. Gamma, target their shield generators, he commanded. Use precision attacks only. The human pilots flew their ships in patterns that made no sense to alien tactical computers. They moved like dancers, like birds, like nothing the aliens had ever seen in space combat. Their weapons were surgical, hitting exactly the right spots to disable alien systems without destroying the ships completely. Lieutenant Seo piloted her fighter through a cloud of Corvani defensive fire. Her ship was built from parts that should not work together: civilian spacecraft engines, military weapons, and experimental shield technology. But somehow, it all functioned perfectly. Swarm drones launching, announced Colonel Bay from his lunar command post. Thousands of small objects, each no bigger than a basketball, poured out of hidden bases on the moon. The aliens had never detected these bases because they looked like natural rock formations. The drones moved in coordinated swarms, adapting their flight patterns faster than alien computers could track them. Each drone carried a simple but effective weapon, a small electromagnetic pulse device that could shut down alien systems without causing permanent damage. They swarmed over the alien ships like metal insects, disabling weapons and shields with precision strikes. General Wan watched the battle from his strategic command center beneath the Swiss mountains. Phase 3 complete, he reported to defensive coordinators worldwide. Both alien fleets are experiencing 70% system failures. The humans had turned Earth's entire industrial capacity into a weapon. Orbital factories that built communication satellites had been secretly manufacturing military equipment for years. Underground facilities disguised as research laboratories were actually weapons development centers. Most impressive was the speed of human adaptation. When alien ships changed their defensive patterns, human tactics changed immediately. When the aliens tried new weapons, humans had countermeasures ready within minutes. Dr. Lim, head of the Rapid Response Engineering team, coordinated with manufacturing centers around the world. Asteroid Mining Station 7, redirect your cargo haulers for combat use. Shopping Center Bravo, begin drone production. Civilian transport ships, report for weapons installation. The aliens watched in amazement as human civilian infrastructure transformed into military assets. Shopping malls became drone factories. Cargo ships became assault vessels. Communication networks became command and control systems. War Commander Thex stared at his tactical display as another section of his fleet went dark. They have been preparing for this for years, he realized. Decades. They knew we were coming. Admiral Kethvar came to the same horrible conclusion. These are not primitives, he transmitted to his remaining ships. They are predators. They have been hunting us since we arrived. By the end of the first day of what should have been Earth's conquest, both alien fleets were in full retreat. 30% of their ships floated dead in space, their crews alive but their vessels completely disabled. The species they had dismissed as primitive had somehow achieved tactical superiority against two galactic superpowers. The underestimation was complete and the cost was devastating. The second day of battle began with a message that confused both alien commanders completely. Admiral Zhang sat in her command center beneath the city of Busan, speaking into a communication device that could reach anywhere in the solar system. Her voice was calm and professional as she contacted the Zephyrian flagship. Admiral Kethvar, this is Admiral Zhang of Earth's Defense Fleet, she said. Yesterday's fighting was unfortunate. We propose a temporary alliance between Earth and the Zephyrian Empire against our common enemy, the Corvani Alliance. On his damaged flagship, Admiral Kethvar stared at his communication officer in surprise. These humans had destroyed a third of his fleet, but now they wanted to be allies? Explain your terms, he replied carefully. At exactly the same time, Admiral Yang sent an identical message to War Commander Thex on the Corvani command ship. But this message proposed an alliance between Earth and the Corvani against the Zephyrians. Neither alien commander knew that they were both talking to the same human. Dr. Lim monitored the Zephyrian communications while Colonel Bay tracked the Corvani responses. Both sides are interested, Lim reported to Admiral Jiang. They are desperate enough to consider working with us. Admiral Jiang smiled. Perfect. Begin Phase 3. Make them fight each other while we attack both of them. The human strategy was unlike anything either alien race had seen in their 1,000 years of warfare. Both the Zephyrians and Corvani had developed careful, predictable battle tactics over the centuries. Humans used chaos as their weapon. Captain Sio commanded a ship that should not have existed. Her vessel was built from a civilian cargo hauler, powered by fusion reactors taken from a space station, and armed with weapons designed in 3 different countries. The ship looked like junk, but it moved like a dancer. Her target was a Corvani destroyer that was 3 times larger than her ship. Any reasonable captain would have used long-range missiles or called for support. Instead, Captain Sio did something that violated every rule of space combat. She rammed her ship directly into the destroyer's side. The collision should have destroyed both vessels. Instead, Sio's ship had been designed with a special electromagnetic field that transferred most of the impact energy into the enemy's hull. The destroyer's shields, designed to stop energy weapons and missiles, could not handle the physical impact. Ramming attack successful, Sio reported calmly as the Corvani ship drifted helplessly in space. Enemy vessel disabled, minimal damage. To our ship. War Commander Thex watched the impossible maneuver in shock. No sane commander would try such a thing, he told Major Kim. These humans fight like they are insane. But human tactics were not insane. They were unpredictable, which was even more dangerous. Lieutenant Park coordinated Earth's Psychological Warfare Division from a facility that had once been a television station. Her team studied both alien cultures and found their weaknesses. The Zephyrians valued honor above everything else. So Park's team broadcast messages that made each Zephyrian ship believe the others had acted dishonorably. Soon, Zephyrian captains were arguing with each other instead of fighting humans. The Corvani were obsessed with following orders from their superiors. Park's hackers created fake commands that seemed to come from Corvani High Command. The false orders told different ships to attack different targets, creating confusion throughout their fleet. Meanwhile, Earth's industrial capacity continued to perform miracles. General Wan watched from his command post as civilian infrastructure transformed into military production. Shopping Mall Delta has converted to drone manufacturing, reported his assistant. Orbital Factory 7 is now producing kinetic weapons. The Civilian Transport Union has volunteered their entire fleet for military service. Factories that made cars began making weapons. Communication satellites became missile platforms. Even the International Space Station had been secretly equipped with defensive systems. But the most brilliant part of the human strategy was the deception Admiral Jiang was running. She continued to communicate with both alien commanders, convincing each one that Earth was their ally against the other. The Corvani are planning to attack your damaged ships, she told Admiral Kethvar. We can help you strike first. At the same time, she told War Commander Thex, the Zephyrians are regrouping for a major assault. We should hit them before they recover. Both alien commanders, desperate after their losses and confused by the strange human tactics, began to believe these messages. Soon, the Zephyrians and Corvani were fighting each other more than they were fighting the humans. On the 3rd day, as both alien fleets floated helplessly in Earth's orbit with half their ships destroyed or disabled, Admiral Jiang made an announcement that would change the entire galaxy forever. This is Earth Command to all Zephyrian and Corvani vessels. Her voice reached every ship through their communication systems. You came here expecting to find primitives who would serve in your war. Instead, you found something else entirely. Admiral Kethvar and War Commander Thex listened from their damaged flagships, wondering what new surprise the humans had prepared. You found coordinators, Admiral Jiang continued. Suddenly, signals activated all across the solar system. Hidden bases in the asteroid belt revealed themselves, launching fleets that had been building in secret for decades. The moons of Jupiter opened like flowers, showing massive shipyards that neither alien force had detected. But these were not human ships. Attention Zephyrian and Corvani forces, came a new voice over the communication channels. This is Commander Vera of the Altarian Liberation Fleet. We stand with Earth against both your empires. More voices joined. The transmission. This is Captain Chen of the Centauri Republic. We are no longer your subjects. Admiral Singh of the Vegan Trade Federation. Our alliance with Earth begins now. Commander Rodriguez of the Wolfpack Coalition. Freedom has come to our worlds. Dozens of species that both empires had conquered or dismissed as primitive were announcing their rebellion. Hidden fleets emerged from gas giant atmospheres, asteroid fields, and empty space throughout both empires. Minister Hong, Earth's Galactic Relations Director, spoke to both alien commanders from her office in Geneva. For 50 years we have been in secret communication with every species you called primitive. We did not just prepare for your arrival. We organized a revolution. Admiral Kethvar stared at his tactical display in horror. Red warning lights were appearing across the entire Zephyrian Empire. Worlds he had conquered decades ago were declaring independence. Their hidden fleets were attacking Zephyrian bases and supply lines. War Commander Thex faced the same nightmare. The Corvani alliance was collapsing as member species revealed they had been secretly building weapons and coordinating with Earth for years. Dr. Choi, head of Earth's Xenological Studies Department, had spent 30 years preparing for this moment. She coordinated the rebellion from her facility beneath Sol, communicating with resistance groups across the galaxy. Every species you called primitive had been watching you, learning from you, waiting for the right moment, she explained to the alien commanders. We simply gave them that moment by proving that you could be defeated. The rebellion was perfectly coordinated. While the Altarians attacked Zephyrian mining colonies, the Centaurians cut off Corvani supply routes. The Vegan Federation liberated prison worlds while the Wolfpack Coalition freed slave labor camps. Each rebel species used tactics they had learned from studying Earth's defense. They turned the aliens' own technology against them, used deception and misdirection, and struck at weak points that the empires had never bothered to protect. President Park addressed the galactic crisis from the United Nations building in New York. This is not a war of conquest, she announced to both empires. This is a war of liberation. Every species has the right to be free. The final battle never happened. Both alien empires facing system-wide rebellions coordinated from Earth could not continue fighting. Their supply lines were cut, their bases were under attack, and their own conquered peoples were rising against them. Admiral Kethvar requested a meeting with Earth's leaders. War Commander Thex made the same request. Both alien commanders arrived at the United Nations building in New York as prisoners requesting mercy, not as conquerors demanding surrender. How did we miss it? Kethvar asked during the peace negotiations. How did primitive species build such an organization without us knowing? Ambassador Lee, formerly Colonel Lee of Earth's Defense Force, served tea to the alien delegates in the same building where humanity had once seemed helpless. You saw what you expected to see, she explained calmly. Primitives with crude weapons and simple minds. You never looked for the networks we built, the alliances we formed, or the patience we learned. The negotiations took 6 months. The Galactic Cooperation Treaty was signed in the same United Nations building where both empires had first demanded Earth's surrender. But now the roles were completely reversed. The treaty did not make Earth the ruler of the galaxy. Instead, it established a council where every species had an equal voice. The former empires were broken up into smaller, democratic governments. War between species was forbidden, and disputes would be settled through negotiation. Admiral Kethvar and War Commander Thex, stripped of their military commands, became ambassadors to Earth. They had to learn to treat the world they once planned to conquer as equals and teachers. Dr. Shin, the quantum communications expert who had started the war, Resistance became Earth's first galactic defense coordinator. Being underestimated was not our weakness, she said during her appointment ceremony. It was our greatest weapon. 1 year after the failed invasion, President Park addressed the first Galactic Council meeting from Sol. Representatives from hundreds of species sat together as equals for the first time in galactic history. You came here to use us in your war, she told the former Empire leaders. Instead, you taught us that the galaxy needed something new, not conquerors but coordinators. Not masters, but mediators. The galaxy would never underestimate primitives again, and it would never forget that Earth's greatest victory came not from superior weapons, but from superior wisdom about working together. Peace had finally come to the stars. The 1,000-year war between the two empires resumed in Earth's orbit, with neither side realizing they were dancing to humanity's plan. Dr. Choi, head of tactical analysis, watched the three-way battle from her monitoring station. "Incredible," she said to her team. "They are doing more damage to each other than we did to them yesterday." By evening, both alien fleets were in chaos. Zephyrian ships attacked Corvani vessels, while human fighters struck at both. The careful formations that had taken centuries to develop were broken and scattered. Admiral Kethvar finally realized what was happening when he intercepted a human message to the Corvani fleet. The same voice that had offered him alliance was making the same offer to his enemies. "We have been deceived," he transmitted to War Commander Thex. "The humans are playing us against each other." But the realization came too late. Both fleets were crippled, their formations destroyed, and somehow the primitive humans had achieved control of the battlefield. "These are not primitives," Kethvar whispered to his officers. "They are something much more dangerous.